Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be for the next 3 months, October, November, December of 2025. Each row is going to represent something different than we normally do. In your first row here, you have this dragonfly spirit says truth transcends illusion. You have this otter spirit says you are never alone. And so this first row is going to represent your 3 main themes. We're going to look for any main themes. So each card is going to represent a theme, basically, that you will be dealing with. And it's all the same, Pisces. Why does this not surprise me? Of course, a Pisces is going to get basically the same thing for all 3. But, money is going to be a big focus. The other thing I will say is that friendship and, connection is going to be a big theme for you as well. Like, we know this because of the astrology. So, this card that says you are never alone, it definitely makes sense that that would be coming up for you because, like I said, I think that your connections are going to kind of take center stage in the last 3 months of this year. Getting a lot of support, being with other people, things like that, right? And that is, like I said, that's a big theme that you could be dealing with. In your first row, you obviously have the Queen of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is a card of resourcefulness and using your resources wisely and using your resources to be successful. One thing that I like to pay attention to, Pisces, on the Queen of Pentacles is this rabbit right here. So, one theme that is popping into my head that you will be dealing with over the next 3 months is like looking for opportunities to multiply. The rabbit can represent fears and anxiety, can represent fertility and abundance. But the rabbit, rabbits multiply very quickly. It's a very abundant reading. You have the Ten of Pentacles, World, Ace of Cups. I mean, you have all these Pentacle cards, obviously, in the first row. So, I feel for a lot of you that you are going to be focusing on themes of abundance, which again makes perfect sense. It's time for Pisces to make money, as I always say to you. But, what I would focus on is multiplication. And, the Queen of Pentacles represents multiplication in the sense that you are doing things that give you a bigger result, right? So just to make it simple, if I were to multiply myself, I would create another YouTube channel. It's like what I do. It's what I'm already good at, right? And so I feel that you need to do more of what you are good at, or you should be focusing on that. It's actually a little bit deeper than that as well, Pisces. It's like where can, the other thing to think about is where can you remove yourself, or where can you get more time, right? So I shouldn't just be focusing, for example, if we're talking about me on my YouTube channel, right? I should be focusing on like maybe hiring an editor or hiring someone else to do something else. And I'm not saying you have to hire people, I'm just giving you an example. And so it's like where can you get more time is kind of what's popping into my head with this Queen of Pentacles. Next, I do feel like you could be dealing with love as well. Could be a theme that is coming up for you. Could be an earth sign that you're attracting. You have earth and water. And so, again, wouldn't really surprise me. But, the Page of Pentacles could be like talking to a new person or communicating with a new person. I do feel that. I also feel, but like, outside of that, Pisces, I feel there's a bigger theme going on with this Page of Pentacles, learning to speak up. I'm telling you right now, I think the best thing that Pisces can do, especially Pisces, especially when we get to like your birth time next year, basically March. I know that's like, kind of like the middle of Pisces birth time, but, with Saturn moving back into Aries at the end of February, around your birth time, then you need to be loud. You need to speak up, right? The Page of Pentacles is communication, but I feel that sometimes he might be communicating in too small. And so he needs to speak up more, and he needs to put his voice out into the world. And so even though this isn't until February, I would start now, because if you start now, you're going to have a bunch of momentum that will hit in February, and you'll be farther ahead. So, I would start speaking up and, sharing your voice, be louder, say the things you're afraid to say, all that other stuff. Next, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Actually, kind of makes sense for Pisces, because I do feel Pisces needs to get started on something that they're not getting started on, basically. And I feel that if you have any project ideas or any goals, or if you've come up with a new business idea, the Knight of Pentacles is basically saying it's time to plant those seeds. It's time to really make it happen, because he has these empty fields behind him. It's like, the sky's the limit. There are no limits to what he can accomplish. He could create a lot of abundance, but the thing is that he has to do it, right? He has to kind of take those steps. So right now, I feel this for Pisces, that Pisces could be having inspirations or ideas that could lead to a lot of abundance, but only if you put the work in, right? And that's what I would do with that Knight of Pentacles there. I do feel like you could be attracting someone here that is going to require you to be a little bit more bold. Like you might have to be a little bit more forward, is popping into my head. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, like finding third place solutions, other ways of doing things is going to be very important for you, Pisces, and also very beneficial. She's thinking she only has these two options, but really she needs to go to this island. It's almost like I get this feeling that's saying don't give up on your ideas, Pisces, because I think what Pisces needs to realize is that we are in an unconventional time, especially now, and we're in a little bit of a disruptive time, but you might be working on projects or working on ideas. And at first you might think, oh, this isn't going to work. But if I think if you kind of add some of your Pisces genius or whatever, that it's going to bring you over here. It's going to like set you apart. And it's almost like that's what this Two of Swords is asking you to do. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the King of Pentacles. There you go. Definitely, you have the King of Pentacles twice, and, we have the King and Queen of Pentacles. If you want love, there definitely could be a strong divine counterpart coming in for you. The King of Pentacles is also the card of convention, so kind of like we've been saying in this first row, I feel that, for some of you, the King of Pentacles, he's a little bit stuck in the old ways of doing things, and he just needs to evolve and get with the times and use new tools and things like that. Work and business and pretty much everything. Yes, with the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Judgment card. This could be like your true purpose that you're discovering here, Pisces. Again, this fits in very well with the astrology. It makes perfect sense to me that Pisces could be discovering like a new way of doing things in life, or just like a completely new project, or, you could be working on something completely new. And, again, this could be leading you towards something that's more aligned with your like higher self. This is your higher self angel up here on the card. These people, the coffin is their old life, outside the coffin is their new life, and they just need to step into that new life to answer the call. And I feel like that's what you are being asked to do. Next, we're going to look at what you don't see coming in over the next 3 months. You have this Overcome card. It says conquer fear, breakthrough, and growth. Yeah, you can't make this up. I don't even need to look at this card. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. It says snakes. It says transformation, fear, anxiety, and wisdom. Again, I always say snakes are guardians of portals. Snakes represent fear. And so to get to the other side of the portal, we have to kind of like overcome some sort of fear. I feel that in your first row, that there could be just like tiny little things, maybe you don't even think of them as fears, but maybe it is kind of like a fear. But it's like maybe you don't call it that. And facing those things is what's going to make you very successful, not only over these next few months, but over the next several years. It's like you have to do the things that really kind of, maybe kind of push you past certain boundaries, but not like in a bad way. We're talking about this is in a way of growth, in a way of having a breakthrough with that Overcome card, and you will overcome these, fears and issues and things like that. You have the Three of Cups, the Five of Swords, and the Four of Cups. Three of Cups can represent celebration, happiness. These three ladies are celebrating a harvest as well. And so I do feel like working with other people could be beneficial. Like I said at the beginning as well, I do feel there is a theme. This is going to be a theme for you over the next many months of kind of like working on connection. That doesn't have to be love. That could just be your connection to your parents or, people that are important to you in your life. And you are, number one, meant to be an inspiration, as I've been saying to you for 2 years now. But number two, I feel like you are meant to realize that you don't have to do everything on your own. In some ways, I do feel that Pisces could be feeling a little bit more lonely. I think Pisces typically doesn't mind being alone. I mean, I don't. I live alone right now. It's great. And, so, I don't think Pisces necessarily minds it. And it's not like you're going to mind it. I just feel that you could be feeling it, Pisces, that you could be like, wow, I'm alone right now. Or, I want more connection or whatever it is. And, I feel like the reading, that is definitely a theme that is popping up here, that you could be looking for connection. And look at this. We have the top row definitely could be like a knight in shining armor, a connection. It could even just be a friend, And, the Knight of Cups doesn't have to be love. It could be someone that you will love, like a friend in a friendly way or whatever. So, take it how it resonates, but I feel like there could be a connection. I also feel like there is a connection to other people and your money, clearly. So it's like finding the people who really lift you up. Three of Cups is about surrounding yourself with those people that really support your vision. And so making sure that you do that is going to be important. Next, you have the Five of Swords. It's like I see you noticing. It's such a weird message. I got this right when I put the card down at the beginning, and I was like, that's weird. It's like this noticing. You're noticing something in the world. Why is this important? I have no clue. But, it could be because there's an opportunity or inside of that, right? This is a very weird message. I'm not going to lie. But, it's like you are noticing some separations that are occurring around you. This could be globally. This could be people that it could be whatever, and there's something in it for you. And again, I wish I had more. Maybe we'll get more when we clarify, but just intuitively I feel like you are noticing like certain separations that are going on around you. And again, like I said, there could be an opportunity in that. I also do feel the reading itself is encouraging you to take bigger risks, like we said with that overcoming card. So I would be taking bigger risks, swinging that bat harder, right? Trying to have those home runs in life. And, that's what success is going to require right now. You have the Four Cups. It's like Four Cups can say that you've been disappointed many times before. And, he's been disappointed 3 times, but he's being given this fourth cup right here that he needs to accept into his life to, have something great. And we go up to the Ten of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. So again, for those of you that want love, I definitely feel there could be love coming in for you now. And this has been coming up for you for a few weeks at least, or months, I should say, for the end of the year here. And I feel like this is saying you need to realize that you've learned from these past disappointments. You just have to apply what you learned to that cup, and things will go well. Ten of Pentacles I consider to be the best love card in the deck. It really kind of represents having it all. And not that I think we ever truly have it all, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of life. But you could be attracting a really good connection, but I kind of feel you have to, for lack of a better term, I think you have to get over yourself, Pisces, and that includes me. So I'm not calling you out here. You have 2 cards, apparently. The King of Wands, and then you have the Two of Cups that wanted to come out with it. It like flew out into my lap there. I don't know if you saw that. But the Three of Cups, with the Three of Cups, this could be a person, right? You could be attracting a fire sign. You have fire and earth and water, here, so it could be any sign, general reading. What I would say is that you're attracting probably like a very bold person. Two of Cups is usually different than your usual type and usually starts with communication. Page of Pentacles, so definitely could be a new person. I really feel like you're going to meet a person through socializing. I think I've been saying this to you all year as well, but Three of Cups. Three of Cups, usually we meet a person through, spending time with people, getting out in public, doing something in public, going to a party, going to an event, going to a class, something like that. So, if you're looking for love, I feel like you're really going to have to put yourself out there. The other thing that I would say is that I feel like your higher self is guiding you for sure. We have the Judgment card. The Two of Cups can be you and your higher self. I really feel the universe is trying to be like, go for it, Pisces. Like there's something you're thinking about that really could make you very successful, or really could improve your situation. And could really, kind of like, it's like, it's almost like there's something that is brightening the mood here. Like I feel this intuitively where, you have an idea or some sort of change that you could make and it would really bring your mood up as well. It's like, I think that's something you don't even realize is that something could bring the mood up and you need to do it, whatever it is. Also, Pisces, make sure to like and leave a comment. Let me know if you like this style of reading. Really helps me out. With the Five of Swords, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Again, just needing to get started, right? It's like the Knight of Pentacles is the only knight in the tarot that isn't making a move. He has an idea. He has, everything about him represents knowledge and wisdom. He has these oak leaves on his helmet, these oak leaves right here, which represent knowledge and wisdom. Like he knows exactly what to do to grow whatever he's gonna grow in these fields behind him. Right next to it, you have the Ten of Pentacles, which is kind of like saying, it's time to get started, right? Next, with the Four Cups, you have the Devil here. Sorry, wrong camera. The Devil can represent needing to remove, anything toxic from your life. With this eclipse, of course, that we're having on the 21st, if you're watching this before the 21st or even after, eclipses can last for 6 months. We have this eclipse in Virgo. Definitely for Pisces, it's about, kind of like healing, removing things that are stealing energy, removing things that are getting in your way. And I would definitely, work on that for sure. Next, we're going to look at any challenges that you need to overcome or should overcome at this time. You have this card that says nothing will come of this situation. You also have this emotions are running high. Yes, definitely. I think that people don't realize that the Aries energy is emotional, especially when, I know that this is for the next 3 months, but I feel like people could be feeling this right now. That kind of like the emotions, that kind of like hot-headed energy, right? And so I have been saying for months now that cooler heads will prevail. I've been encouraging people to avoid things like road rage, for example. No road rage, no arguments in the home as well. It's a good time to just let people win. And just, I know that's super hard. I know it's super hard sometimes if you're, getting into an argument with your spouse or something like that and you're right. It's like, just let them be right. And then let them realize that they're wrong later, right? Because it's a really bad time for arguments in the home, things like that. So I would definitely be careful of that. I would be careful of emotions as well, because again, emotions are definitely running high. Neptune retrograde, just in general, right? Neptune doesn't go direct till January. So this is a very emotional energy, and I think that's what you need to realize here. Next in this row for challenges to overcome, you have the Ace of Cups, 10 of Pentacles in the World. Definitely makes sense to me. It's kind of funny that this is actually a really good row, right? And not that this row is meant to be bad. It's just meant to show you something that you need to overcome or how you can overcome it. Definitely the challenge for Pisces right now, right here, is inspiration, feeling excited about things, feeling like something is going to work, feeling like something is going to lead to fulfillment. I think that's what's missing and has been missing for Pisces for a long time. I think if we go back to, 2012, before 2012, it's like you can probably think of several situations in your life where you just kind of like knew something before it happened. And I've talked to you about this before, Pisces, that, it's like Neptune and Pisces has removed that knowing energy, has removed the knowingness, if that is such a word. And, it's like I think that's been missing for a very long time. And so I feel for a lot of you, it's like you've been kind of, it's almost like you're a blind fish, it's like you're trying to feel around in the darkness. And that's what I get for you here intuitively. It's like you've been looking for something that fulfills you emotionally, that sets you on fire, that gets you fired up and excited. And so, but, I think it's because Neptune and Pisces, number one, but also Neptune retrograde, we have to work in reverse. It's weird that Neptune retrograde makes us feel like we need to be inspired to get started. But it's actually the other way around. It's like we have to get started to get inspired in the first place to know what to do. And so anything you're thinking about doing, if you think something could work, like a business idea, a relationship, just something fun that you could do with friends with the 3 of Cups and this Otter card that says you are never alone, it's like you have to start it first, and then you'll get the inspiration. So, that definitely could be a challenge. You have the 10 of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles is a very good card, but 10 of Pentacles, I do feel this could be a little bit of a challenge of needing to look for information. There's an alternative meaning to the 10 of Pentacles that this man here is, normally the older man represents the fact that this could represent an inheritance, right? But he can also represent a beggar. There's an alternative meaning that says he is a beggar, he's coming to this family, and he's bringing them a gift. And so the alternative meaning is that you could be getting information from an unlikely source. This is very Uranus and Gemini. Uranus will be retrograding out of Gemini in November, so within the next 3 months. But still, we've already entered into Uranus and Gemini. So we have to look for information. But also we have to look in places that might be unrelated to what we're dealing with, or we just have to realize. I always say one of my favorite books of all time, I read it at least once a year, so most of the years I read it like twice, is Psycho-Cybernetics. And so Psycho-Cybernetics is a book about like literally just talking to your subconscious and telling your brain you're looking for answers, right? And sometimes we have to do that. So, number one, I recommend that you read the book. Number two, usually with this stuff, it's like I just tell my brain, hey, I'm looking for answers on this problem, just pay attention. It's like, I don't know, I've got it. It works and it's free, right? So it's like sometimes I get answers from like movies or books that I'm reading that are unrelated to a problem that I'm dealing with and things like that. But we also have to be willing to like mix things together. Again, I've been talking about this for years. I've been telling people, and people keep coming to me and they're like, I'm so surprised that this worked. I'm like, I don't know, I'm not. I've been saying this to you for years, right? That Uranus and Gemini is idea sex. We have to mix two ideas together that could be different but could work. And so another one of my favorite books of all time, Skip the Line by James Altucher, right? In that book, he talks about idea sex. Well, actually, in many of his books and many of his videos, he talks about this concept of idea sex. But, again, it's an amazing time to, I think Pisces should think of their skills, like all the skills you have. And it's like, could multiple skills that you have play together, even if they seem unrelated? I don't know. Only you can answer that question, Pisces. And I think if you do it, that you could come up with an idea that could make you a lot of money or could make you a lot more successful. You have the world. The world can be an accomplishment or an achievement that's coming in for you. Number one, I feel like you could be feeling the world. Again, with this, emotions are running high. So you could be feeling the emotions of the world. The other problem with the world is that we have to, again, bring something down to earth. We have to make the dream happen. And, obviously that's what I feel for you there. Yeah, with the Ace of Cups, some of you might be still holding on to something from the past. If you are wanting love, it's like there might be little tiny things that are still connecting you to a past person. So again, you're going to have to be honest with yourself, but it's an amazing time for healing. And so if you could look at those little things that you're holding on to and let them go, it would probably lead to a new connection. I mean, obviously right here. Right after the card. So there you go. With the Ten of Pentacles, yes, and being more bold, obviously. Call me crazy, but I feel like you have like $1 billion idea in your head, Pisces. It might not be money. I'm speaking figuratively here. Bear with me. But, it's like I think you have an idea that could make you very wealthy, but maybe not even in the sense of money, right? It could make you very wealthy friendship-wise. It could make you very wealthy in your health. It could be anything, right? But I think it probably, Ten of Pentacles is everything. It is like everything you want and desire. But the Queen of Wands, she has to be willing to march to the beat of her own drum. She has to realize, and as I think I literally just said this to you, it's like there is no one to compare yourself to, Pisces. There's not going to be a living example of what you're about to do in your life. I think that's part of the challenge. I think that there is no one that you can say, okay, I can follow this path, because it's like you're the trailblazer. You're the one that is creating the path for others to follow. That's what Pisces needs to realize, and that is also a challenge. But I think that should also motivate you to get moving. You can't make this up. With the world, I should have said it. I was literally going to say, you have that snake card. We have the snake right here on the side of the Wheel of Fortune. So again, to change your fortunes, there are fears that you're probably going to have to face. There are things that you're going to have to overcome. I would be careful of fear. I would be careful. I'll give you a great example. The other day, I was listening to this podcast about AI and about how basically we're screwed, right? Not true. But, I was listening to it and it got me into a bad mood, right? Thinking about it. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like necessarily some of those predictions and things like that. It's just very anti-human as far as I'm concerned, and I'm on team human here, and is what I would say. And so again, it just put me in a weird mood, right? And so I think the Wheel of Fortune is also saying, don't pay attention to those things. They might be true, they might not be. It might not be true, but Queen of Wands literally says, what can you do right now? Queen of Pentacles literally says, she does what she can with what she's got right now. But, what I'm getting here is that you need to be careful of things that make you feel fear as well, which we've been talking about. So, again, I would, make sure that you're not. And again, Pisces, you're meant to be the trailblazer. You're meant to be the example. It's like maybe Pisces could save the world by, showing people that there's another better way to live, right? Next, we are going to do the good stuff here in the last row. You have the Shining Through card and this Healing the Heart card. Yes, very good. So, again, the whole reading says you need to heal your heart. So I definitely feel you could be healing your heart at this time, which would be great. The Shining Through card is about something maybe you're finally, as we were talking about the feeling. Pisces knowing that something is going to work. I kind of feel like you could be getting little clues that something in your life is going to work finally. So you could finally be seeing something that you can work on or pay attention to, which is good. You have the Knight of Cups, the Two of Swords, and the King of Pentacles. Definitely could be love coming in for you if you want a love connection with the Knight of Cups. I do feel that for you here. I do feel like you're going to have to be like a little bit more brave in this connection. Like I would encourage you. It's like, I don't really have a good example for you, Pisces, but, it's like sometimes I think in connections, we come up with these little rules in our heads where we say like, oh, I shouldn't text this person good morning because I shouldn't give them too much attention. I should like, all these things popping in your head. It's like, I think if you think it, you should do it, right? I think that if you are not who you are, that will ruin it. But I think if you just say like, oh, if you wake up in the morning, you're like, I should text this person good morning, do it. If you think like, oh, I should invite this person over, do it. Or, oh, I should tell this person that I want to see them today, like do it, because I think they're thinking the same thing. But it's like, if you let those rules that society has come up with, or whatever dumbass dating coach you're watching online, right? They're all morons. I don't know if you know this, but like all these dating coaches are like getting exposed on YouTube. So, and I love the drama. I love watching this. So it's very exciting to me. But, they're all morons. So it's like you shouldn't be listening to them anyway. You should probably just be doing what you feel. Just that simple. You have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is this or that thinking, but she needs to be over here. Again, I think you're coming up with some sort of genius idea here, Pisces, for your life, or, for some sort of way to live. And you literally could be, being an example to other people, and I feel like you need to be. You have the King of Pentacles. Yeah, like abundance, success coming in here. I do like that this King of Pentacles comes up in the good stuff as well, because it really says that you could be really setting yourself up for the future with something that you're working on. With the Knight of Cups, you have the Seven of Swords. Coming up in the good stuff, so Seven of Swords is about doing something in a different way. The whole entire reading basically says that. He's going to war, but he's doing it through stealing these swords. He also has these polka dots on his cloak, and the polka dots in the tarot represent fun. They represent taking things too seriously, but coming up in the good stuff, it would say maybe you are being more playful with a person and just seeing how things go. I also think you're like speaking your mind more. It's almost like you have realized that, it's almost as if you have realized that if you don't speak your mind, if you don't tell someone, like the truth. I'm not saying that you lie in connections, but you know what I mean? It's like sometimes I think we just hold things back in connections because we're afraid of what the other person will think, right? I feel like you're being very open, which is good. With the Two of Swords, you have the Four of Cups, which is also good. Again, it's almost as if you're correcting something that was a disappointment or something that didn't work out. This could be a long theme, Pisces. Like, really, I think most Pisces, it's like, if you have been trying to have a business since like 2012, that it's probably been disappointment after disappointment. But it's almost like you're correcting that. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Hermit. Yeah, you need to shine bright for sure. I think everything about Pisces readings really says that you need to take up more space, be more loud, share your thoughts more, put yourself out there in a bigger way, all those things that we kind of talked about. Next, we're going to look at anything I missed. Are there any other themes or information that the reading wants to give us? You have the speculation card. Pisces, if you are interested in a person that you're wondering if they're interested in you right now, the answer is yes. Like, I feel like some of you are, I don't know, it's like you're reading too much into the signs and the symbols. It's like, I think that some of you, I'm not calling you out, but I totally am. If you're interested in a person right now that it's like, I think there are like moments where you're like, oh, this person likes me. Maybe they're giving you signs or clues. And then there are other moments where you're like, no, they don't like me. But they do. So there you go, Pisces. Go for it. Could be an earth sign. Earth is standing out to me. It could also be a Cancer as well. You have this negotiation card. No. This card is saying no settling, Pisces. I feel like this card is saying do not negotiate with yourself. As in, I feel that there are things that you've always wanted. And like the AI story that I told you, I feel like you could be saying to yourself, well, it's all over now, right? It's like the negative attitude, right? That's what needs to change with this card, is I feel like you need to realize you can totally still create a dream. And no matter how impossible it may seem. Again, we have Neptune and Pisces one more time with Saturn also there at the same time. It's a miracle. So it's like you need to go for the impossible goal or dream that you still have time. Yeah, you have this excitement card. the end of the year here could be very exciting for you, for sure. I actually think even though we have a Mercury retrograde in November, and also Uranus will be retrograding back into Taurus, I really do feel like November is kind of like really good. Not that October is necessarily bad. I don't really think there's anything wrong with October, but I think you're going to feel really good starting in November. So could be a lot of excitement. You have this defense card. I think that you need to have boundaries and protect your boundaries is basically what this is saying. And finally, you have this protection card. You are protected. Yes, your ideas are protected. You should be taking risks because you're protected. All that, Pisces. So this looks really, really good. I love this for you, Pisces. Make sure to leave a comment, drop a like. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy the next 3 months.